Welcome, 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 and thank you so very much for joining me on another episode of Talking Innovation. Now, I've told you before, I'll tell you again, this is where we talk about anything, everything that's going on in the world of innovation and new developments, new technology. I mean, come on, it's easy to fill that bucket. And I've told you many, many times, I'm just the Gilligan, but I get unbelievable professors, just really great people that have their dump in a lump, so to speak, and really know their stuff. And today is certainly no exception. I'm super excited. I met this gentleman, gosh, I don't know, a couple years ago, I guess, anyway. We kind of clicked and we've stayed in touch ever since. He's from the north. My friends up in Montreal and Toronto, and I'm super excited to have a conversation today with the managing director of Lukin, right? Did I say that right? Lunik. Why did I always? I was just talking about that. Lunik, and they're really a very progressive, active, leading reseller up in Canada. So I'm super excited to talk to Jeff Cote today. So Jeff, it's great to have you, man. Thanks. Sorry about messing up the name.
No problem at all. Always a pleasure to be around you, Grant.
Thanks, man. Thanks. So hey, I was looking through Walter's Kluwer. It looked like you were, years ago. Is that right?
Yep.
And now you're on the other side, the partner reseller side, and boy, you over the course of less than a decade have just soared through the ranks, and now pretty much running the show. It looks like, is that right?
Well, we're a little bunch of guys, a little team that runs the show, but sure I am happy to be one of them.
Awesome. And so, specialty, area of focus, what are you guys all about?
Main focus is security, data surveillance. So this is the main focus.
And so, I mean, that is such a huge diamond with so many different facets today. It, you know what I mean? It's like, uh, are there areas where you're especially focused, where your discipline is?
Uh, Workspace security for a long time, but since the advance of new platforms and new tools and new ways of doing things are coming in, it's easier and easier to actually be efficient in other areas like cloud security or even down to insider threats,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is which is going to be remember that insider threats.
mm,
This is going to be the main focus for quite a while out
yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, with AI, man, it's especially wild. So, who, Jeff, are you enterprise focused, large enterprise, mid size? Where's your customer focus?
We
Anybody
started
with money?
anyone with data.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started as a small and medium business. We started supplying services for small and medium businesses. But first thing we knew, large enterprises came in and requested the exact same offering that we were supplying with smaller guys.
Hmm.
So we did, we decided to give it a try and saw that weirdly enough, it's not really harder to take care of the big guys. It's oftentimes it's I would say
Easier, maybe.
it's probably easier since they have this streamlined operations thing
They
going on
have they
that
have the
you won't have in
resources.
smaller businesses. Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. I think the smaller businesses really have the greater challenge.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
each and every single one of them is you have to go custom or tailor made with tailor made solutions or tailor made way of doing things with all of these smaller businesses. Usually, they manage to survive and strive just because they're operating in a uh,
Right.
niche area or something like that, and everything in their world is tailor made or custom made. You have to adapt to that, so you end up doing some pretty crazy stuff. So
Right. Right.
and through it all, you have to keep in mind that there is there is no there's not a hundred ways to do it right. So you have to keep it tailor made, adapt as much as you can to their realities
Hmm.
without losing the focus and security.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the hardest thing with smaller businesses.
So, I'm totally game for going anywhere today. Um, what's been on your mind? What's the rock in your shoe? What do
Oh,
you
geez,
think is
geez.
what did you read lately that's intriguing? Anything?
For sure, this AI thing is rocking the boat quite a
What's
lot.
going on uh, tell me what's really happening in the uh, knowledge worker see out there in companies and I mean, I saw a statistic just the other day. More than 50% never use AI.
Yeah,
So that one blew me away. And I see another statistic that says 84% are using effect. Now, of course, I'm not talking about I don't realize I'm using AI and there's a bot there. I'm talking about, purpose driven, go to ChatGPT, go when I say use AI. But, you have such unbelievable swings in the data. You don't know really what to believe. What's really going on?
thing is that I think that that's just my theory, but since the excess, it's so easy to access for anyone within a company to access an AI tool that getting the proper numbers about this is would be pretty hard. So let's say they say that if they base their numbers on companies that decided to officially onboard AI or officially have a line of conduct or to legitimate this use. Okay, yeah, I can figure out that 50% that might be close to reality, but thing is that you have so many users in a company that doesn't have any policy toward AI that will still use it using their browser or things like that, that you can't really get the real number. And oftentimes they won't even say they won't admit that they use it.
Right?
So it's pretty hard to figure out real numbers with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously, there's all kinds of ways to control it. And I suspect there are some organizations that are just outright trying to block it, which seems like folly to me because I got another supercomputer right
Yes.
here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So are you seeing a lot of people? I mean, it harkens back to the old days when social networking was emerging everywhere, and companies were putting in controls to,
Oh,
either block social networking altogether or uh, granular controls, so that you could block videos but not chat or
yeah.
whatever, right? So are we back there again?
I think
Uh,
we are. I think the parallel is pretty good actually, because after a while they got tired of trying to block it, and they went and tried to educate their people
yeah,
instead.
yeah. I think that's
And
going to happen more quickly though this time. I
I think
suspect. I
it would make
suspect.
sense. I think they're probably going to be remembering this period they had with the social networks
It's
and my
different though, isn't it, Jeff? I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. Uh, you know, with the social networking, it was, the big risk was DLP or, you know, uh, and I certainly see that same. risk, but there's a new kind of threat when you consider the autonomy and the agentic capabilities that are getting built in.
Oh yeah.
And, with MCP, I mean, you can start to have this world, as you know, where just English, plain language is the threat, and it fires off multiple things,
Yeah.
not just
It's
you
like
want
you
a
have
post or a get.
it's like you have a whole bunch of people that decides to hire some new guys for the company, let them in, give them access to a whole bunch of stuff without HR knowing about it, without any background check being done or anything like that.
Hmm.
It's basically getting new workers in at this point, but you
I
have
mean,
no
it really
control.
is.
It really is
And
to some extent.
I prefer that language, those words, an assistant rather than an agent,
Yeah.
because I feel like just how it makes me think about how I will treat it and behave with it is more accurate. I don't care if I hired the smartest assistant on the planet.
Yeah.
If you're a newly hired assistant, I'm going to scrutinize and look at everything you produce, right?
Oh
No
yes.
matter no matter what. And
Yeah.
so, that's the part where that's not always what that's not always what users do. So do you see, I mean, are companies embracing it? Or do you see a lot of projects succeeding? That's the other thing. I've heard a lot of projects have been in labs but not ever got out of test dev, that they've really never succeeded. I'm just curious where you're seeing things.
From what we see with our clients at the moment, uh, a lot of them are reluctant to jump on the AI bandwagon just yet, just because they realize that having control, a real control over it, is quite a handful. So I think that with the arrival of more and more tools to monitor or secure
Mm,
those new resources,
yeah.
I think that it will probably encourage some to cross the line and get involved with the AI tools and AI assistants,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether they are uh, full blown full blown agent or just services on a web platform.
Right. 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 Yeah. I'd really love to dig in and see how much it's getting
Action,
exercised,
yeah.
used, tried,
How many
because
traction it has?
you hear a tremendous amount of hype about it, and the amount of money that the big super scalers are. I mean, it's staggering. I just saw in the news earlier, over a $500 billion to be invested.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of dough, and
It is.
it's sort of like, I don't know, man. I've never heard of anything with that kind of it. I mean, when we went through the build out of the bubble, you had all the carriers doing swaps and
Yeah.
kooky things, but the world was changing and growing fast. It
Yeah, I think
seems
that
similar in some ways.
it's going to be way bigger than the cloud revolution.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Way
yeah.
bigger. It already is to some extent.
I think it's bigger than anything I've seen in my lifetime. And, I've opened an Apple dealership in '83. So,
I
you
think
know,
I think it's safe to say that we've never seen anything quite like it.
yeah, and I don't even know where it's going. I mean, for example, I was talking with a guy who, so we worked together at Checkpoint in the first acquisition. And then when I bought MetaInfo back, he came with me, Steve DeYoung. Now, this is a guy, you have to understand, that has spent the last at least 30 plus years perfecting being a developer. Okay? Just imagine perfecting something that I literally thought a developer was a wizard, magic, walk on water, because they could do something that I didn't even have a clue how to begin. I mean,
Yeah, to create all
right
of this out of nothing.
out of just your
Yeah,
idea and a keyboard,
a blank
right?
page and a keyboard.
And so developers of any kind, but certainly quality, good, deep technical developers, man, they were like gods
Oh, they were
until
far from being dime a dozen.
until just a few months ago.
Yeah,
Code was enormously expensive. Now it's a commodity because
yeah,
I mean, I've been experiencing it firsthand where, you put together a very comprehensive profile in a window.
yeah,
So you've got a very hard identified persona. And then in a terminal window, you open up Claude Code and you then um, talk to your developed persona, this 30-year developer with a proven history of repeated successful amazing tool, right? I mean, you really
yeah.
craft this heavy duty persona, and then you just have him or her, whatever you want to call them, uh, tell me what to write. Tell me what to write. And you're literally going back and forth, copying and pasting, but you're now as powerful as those that
Yeah.
walked before you. It's really amazing. Now,
Yeah,
with all that
that's one of the
said,
games that
there's still a lot of things you got to understand that you'll get into deep yogurt fast. But nonetheless, I owning a software company helped because it kind of gave me a little bit of a blurry view.
yeah.
Um, but dude, I'm telling you, man, what a game changer! What a game changer!
Oh yes. Oh yes. I remember back then when we you know as far as security goes, we had some kind of a progression uh, for a long while. Only like guys that had a bit of developing background and a bit of networking background were able to successfully perform,
Oh,
attacks and or just assessment.
yep,
And then came along the scripts. So you ended up having those script kiddies
yeah,
that could use tools, ready-made tools to do it.
yeah. This
And
is
now
script kiddies I mean, on steroids. Now you just have to be able to utter
you don't even need the scripts.
no
Just
scripts.
just
Just
state
be able to talk,
yeah, just
be
state
able to
the
type.
general intention
Yeah,
and state that you want to get there
yeah,
and wait for it.
yeah.
So,
It's pretty amazing. But you know what struck me is, as I was talking with Steve, 30, 40 years perfecting this very elite talent that a fraction on the planet have. And literally, it becomes a commodity that's like
those
nothing.
guys still have an edge on
No doubt, no doubt. I'm
because
talking about the actual code.
yeah, but
If you're writing the correct code, if you're architecting correctly, if you're cleaning up correctly, if you're securing correctly,
because
that notwithstanding,
I know that I do have some trust issues. I'm known for that. They call me the general paranoiac around here. But the thing is that even though the code is coming from a machine and AI,
Yep.
you have the moral obligation to understand each and single line of code that this thing gave you
Yep. Yep.
before you run anything.
Yep.
This is where those guys still have an edge. They still have a
Totally.
major advantage on the
And
rest of the population.
and the way I've put it, Jeff, is I've said, it used to be the space, the distance between a developer that knows how to
Yeah.
write Python or Perl or Java or whatever, and me was the Grand Canyon. I
Oh yeah.
mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Now it's just a veil, but there is still a difference because I don't know. I don't know if it works, if it's right. The only way I know is if I have another window somewhere and I try it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't comprehend. I don't understand it. And you're exactly right. That's where it's probably most dangerous, right? Because you've got unbelievable capabilities in the hands of a novice, right? It
Yeah.
it it, it can it could result in some catastrophic consequences. I think.
Already did. Already did.
What do you mean?
The number of data that has been leaked because of it.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, you just ask an AI, make me a tool that will pipe everything from that page into this one other page. But in order to do so, the AI is relying on I'm going to temporarily store everything I read into this page on this place over the internet that doesn't charge a dime to keep the data mined while I use it and retransfer it somewhere else. I'm going to use that because it's efficient, it's fast, it doesn't cost anything, so it meets what the users want. So I'm going to use that. But the repository at the other end is open to everyone.
mm-hmm,
This data just became available to pretty much anyone.
mm-hmm.
So it's there's been a whole bunch of horror stories like that.
How much do you feel? When I go to the mall, okay, or some place where there's a large parking lot, and I hear a car alarm. I I mean, I never turn and run to the car.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, I just keep going wherever I'm going.
yeah, that happens. Yeah,
Isn't it the same with today? ABC company announced they lost 10 million usernames, passwords, blah blah blah, right? the
yeah,
the the breaches that we hear about, the big companies that totally uh, fuck up how they're handling our data,
yes.
and it ends up getting compromised. I mean, it's all the time now.
Yeah. We
Do you
just
feel like
learned
do you think we're maybe truly getting desensitized, that people go, oh yeah, and it's like,
totally, totally. I mean, just last year we had the CRA, the Canadian Revenue Agency, that had a big leak.
hmm,
They published it and they went clean about it, and
hey,
the
I'm sorry.
general population reaction was, yeah, already lost my data a couple months before, so they
Right.
do have like two copies of the same thing. Why
Yeah.
should I care at this point?
Yeah. I just wonder how much that's really occurring across, you know, really Western civilization, automated, tech societies, right? More modern societies that are all caught up in, this
Yeah,
shit. Um, it just makes me wonder. you know, what's going to get their attention again? You know, I mean, I don't want to bring up a horrible tragedy that occurred. Uh, you know it, I know it, we all know it. You know, it 9/11, right? But before that event, you know, I mean,
There
I
was
don't think
there was
we
Oklahoma City before
we
that, and it was
but before that was internal. Oklahoma, you know,
yep.
before 9/11, we nobody there was no fear, no concern,
Oh yeah,
no, right? I mean, there was just like terrorism, like that kind of terrorism happens everywhere else. It doesn't happen in America,
yeah. It
and
was a movie thing.
that was a game changing event. Um, and you know, I don't think that we've become numb, but when you look at there's more and more of those different types of incidents, maybe not that specifically, but I guess I'm just wondering how much we're losing our sensitivity and what's going to happen, what's going to have to happen for people to really realize we're in
I don't
a
know.
hyper ultra uber connected world where it's virtually impossible to get away if you're connected.
We're it's like we're giving away a little bit of our humanity as time go by.
Or
I
a
mean,
lot of it.
oh yes, I mean we
I mean, one of
we
the,
go
you know,
back
you
like
make,
we go back like 20 years, and an horror story happened in a school involving some
yeah,
crazy shooter, and
yeah.
everyone would be like livid in front of their TVs watching the
Well,
news. It's like what's happening? What's happening? And
yeah,
now it's like one every 2 or 3 months, and
yeah.
we're like,
It's
oh
horrible.
well, yet again, isn't that sad?
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean,
It's that, you know, it's that social. I don't want to say acceptance, but it's like it's a tolerance, or you know,
with
and
it's
it's
either that or we totally lose our minds.
yeah, yeah. Well, it is interesting with the world today, you know, and the invasion of every aspect of our life with these things. I mean, I do find it quite fascinating what's going on, you know, with the Supreme Court, and they have a trial going right now
Oh
where
yeah.
all of the social networking guys, and I heard on the news about testimony from YouTube where that's the actual language in their business was addiction, to get users addicted.
Oh yes.
That's not going to bode well.
Video games have been on that for quite a while now. If
Right.
we go back to Fortnite, that was hiring, that were specialists and shrinks to figure out a way to make the game more and more addictive to
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
kids would get addicted to it. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a line not to cross in my mind, but they did, and
I, I've had a lot of conversations as of late with my youngest son about the flood of dopamine that's realized from the constant screen,
oh
and whether or
yes.
not that's a good or bad thing, the attention span impact.
Oh, it's
You
well
know,
documented by now. My wife is an elementary school teacher, and she can she can testify that what she sees firsthand year after year. It's a downward slope. It's going pretty fast.
you mean all the kids are carrying, all these kindergartners, first graders are carrying phones?
Yeah, she's teaching in fifth grade, and it's getting worse and worse. I mean, attention span wide, It's
Fifth grade, what's that like?
oh, they
Uh,
are like 10,
11, 10,
9,
11?
10 year old,
Mm.
and yeah, she a lot of those kids will express symptoms that are pretty close to heavy withdrawal,
Hmm.
heavy drug withdrawal while they're in class,
Because they don't have their phone.
because they don't have any screen, they don't have anything to swipe at, they don't have
Hmm.
anything to click at. They
Hmm.
After a couple hours, some of them will actually throw some massive fits.
Hmm. Hmm. That's horrible. I mean,
It is.
it's it's an unintended consequence for sure. Have you seen the
Well,
video?
it
So,
was unintended at first, but now
well,
some are some made it their model. So
yeah, and I guess when you hear them say addiction was their objective, it's not an unintended. It was, it was intended, but the consequence may be unintended, right? I think that, no one
yeah,
set out to hurt kids or no one set
well,
out to fuck people up. But I can tell you, okay, my youngest, I've got kids that range a broad range, but let's just say the youngest are 20s, just turned 30, compared to the older ones in their 40s. And, it's noticeable
oh yes,
the struggle and the doom scrolling and the high value placed in the social footprint. Um, and as a result, you have less in the real world.
yeah,
You know what I mean? The less you're that social footprint is you're so obsessed with it that you're missing out on actually making real footprints out in the
yeah.
real world. And that's a balance that I think gets lost
Oh
when
yes,
you're so consumed here. The human side really pays the price in our society.
bars and clubs are closing everywhere because kids don't go there anymore. When I say kids, is you know
Yeah,
from 21 to
yeah, sure.
25, 20 something year olds. They don't go there anymore.
Yeah.
They stay at
Well,
home and they,
it's Tinder or one of these other
yeah.
swipe left right kind of
Oh yeah.
things. I think they've become, and there's a new one all the time that are coming out.
Yeah.
Um, and it's sad because I believe it just increases the superficiality, if you will, of our society. I mean, you got to go talk to people and laugh
Oh
with
yeah.
people and hug people and touch and right. It can't be just like this. It's just not the same. I mean, yes, this is great, but man, I want to be out and engaged with people.
Can you
And
imagine the shock it would be if tomorrow morning there was like several S-class solar flare event,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And all this,
like
there's
back
no
to
more
back, and
networks.
then yeah, and then yeah, you just
And
go back living like it's 1984.
yeah, yeah. Or even 1990,
Oh, 1990, 96.
yeah.
Whoa. This
That would,
the shock it would be for some, not
oh,
for old
yeah.
folks like us, but for the kids. Hey, so what do we do? What do we do today? So
Yeah.
you just go to the park and meet some other kids and do
I don't
stuff.
know how to do
They won't.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
well,
mean,
I don't
that's
feel like it. Well, you're not going to do much.
exactly. I do think um, that would be a very good exercise. I think,
Or it might go sideways real fast.
I kind of bifurcate the world into two buckets when it comes to that, and it's either natives or immigrants. And what I mean is, if you're born, uh, if you were born in 1995 or later,
Yeah.
you're a native.
Oh yeah. You
You've
were born.
never known the world without the internet. You don't know what uh, snow is when I say snow on the
Yeah.
TV screen, right? Rabbit ears, you think of a rabbit, not of what we would put on a television, for
Hearing the
example.
national anthem on the TV,
It's
opening the TV channel every
right
morning.
when it's signing off.
Yeah.
um, and that immigrant status, like us,
Yeah.
does give us a perspective, so we know what a rotary phone is, and we know what a modem is, and some of the things that are long gone. um, but the kids, and what it's like not to have a screen, and what it's like to have to talk to people, right?
Yeah,
Where
it's like running water and electricity. They take that for granted. That always existed. That's always going to be, and that's pretty much it. But fact is, no, might go away, or you might end up in a situation where there is none of that, and you're
yeah,
still going to have to pull through.
yeah. Well,
So
one thing I can tell you that I thought was interesting. So, as a kid growing up, if I pondered anything, what would I do? Go ask my mom. Hey, mom, fill in the blank. Go, if your family had a Encyclopedia Britannica, right, which we did. I mean, God bless my mom. That was, I know, a big spend for her, but we had them, and all the volumes and everything, right? You could go there, A, B, C, D, find the volume and then look it up. You could go to the library. Certainly asking mom was the easiest. But my point is more about when you pondered something, you really didn't have very many places you could pull on that thread and dig into it, where today, if I'm a kid, I'm 8 years old, whatever, and I ponder about something, and I can give you a very specific example of where I would have never been there, but my son did. He was born, taken by cesarean, about not quite 8 weeks early. For just longer story, it's irrelevant. He came out pink as all get out, and then in a matter of 30 or 60 seconds went blue as blue, right? Because his lungs weren't developed. So
yeah,
he's straight to ICU, and he spent the first 2+ weeks of his life in a bubble, in one of
yeah,
those ICU things. So, just for context, okay? When I was growing up, I actually had an illness, an allergic reaction to penicillin. And at 2 months old, I almost died, was in the hospital for 2 months. 1960, brother. Okay. Big difference of what it's like in a hospital today. But I'm telling you this because what I never thought to do ever was to go to my mom or the encyclopedia or even the library and look up what are the consequences of being in a hospital at 2 months old,
yeah.
right? psychologically, right? Well, my son, he's the latter that I spoke about. He is a native. And by, I don't know, he was probably by 12 years old, he'd already searched and looked into the consequences of being born through cesarean
Prematurely.
7 weeks early. So my point is, there is that side of the coin that's really remarkable, that
Yeah.
he was able to be enlightened and deepened from a psychological perspective on understanding something that, frankly, I didn't become cognizant of until I was 30 some years old
Yeah.
in therapy. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is that, right? And I thought that's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
That it gives you that. Um,
What's funny is that, when you said we would ponder if we would ask mom, or back then we would need to figure a way out on how we would figure things out. So how am I going to get the first step done? So we would need to figure out if we were better to ask mom, or and then after that, with the information, we needed to figure something else out. But now you can skip the whole couple steps and go to the ready-made answers. And I think it might have weakened some aspects of ourselves.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I do think that there's
And I think that AI is going to make it worse, way worse.
we have a composition, right, as human beings. And I do believe uh, um, our structure, of that composition is getting altered because of AI in a big way.
Yeah, like our essence.
I mean, the fact that I now can take a significantly different path and get to what I wanted, or at least think I wanted,
Yeah,
so much faster, right? Um, and that's amazing. 12 years old can figure out consequence of
yeah,
being
and
but there's also the lost motion, if you will, of following the analog path or the old way, right? There's
and
because that is exercising things that you don't exercise
and one of the
by.
part that is worrying me the most is that they the folks using these tools still they still feel like the proud about what they accomplished. It's like they're rewarding themselves. I mean,
Right,
you did nothing.
right.
You you wrote a prompt, and
Yep.
you wrote a couple of prompts, and then ended up with the results.
Yeah,
You
you
feel
could
any
say, isn't it amazing how smart everyone else is? Because that's what you
maybe
leveraged.
you can get some accomplishment. You feel any accomplished with that? I
Yeah.
mean,
But see,
I
this
don't
is
know.
where
I think
the
that
world's going to change, because the fact of the matter is, I don't care if I did it or not. The product it's producing for me is superior to that which I would have created myself. I can, and I, since I'm the one that's creating it, but now using a tool and not creating anything, but approving it, adjusting it, it's still what I think is right. It's still what
yeah,
I think is perfect, but I didn't do a damn thing other than nudged it in the right direction as it came back with its answers.
Yeah.
But but what's wrong with that? If I've got a tool, I mean, think about it like this. You know, do you remember there was a time when the only way you could drill a hole
Yep.
was to drill a hole, and that was a month on a really hard surface, especially difficult, right?
Oh yeah.
And when you look at the advancement of tools, dies to set, now it's not so hard. So is that bad? Or I mean, it's so I'm just it's interesting how the composition's going to change,
Yep.
but it's not all bad.
It's not all bad. No, of course not. But I still think that we act way more than we reflect on our own actions by now. So we get results each and every single time. But do we reflect on actually what we're doing and why we're doing it? And this old part is going so fast that I don't know. I'm not totally at ease with the way it's going. If I look at my kids and the you know the every now and then they come back from school with a story about one of the kids getting everything done through ChatGPT. I mean, that's great, but what if they end up somewhere where they can't use that?
Yeah, what if there's no internet, and how do you build a fire in the forest or
So
whatever, right? How do you find water? I mean, you got to learn this stuff, right?
you get a huge outage that lasts for a couple of days. What you're going to stop half of the planet because AI is not responding anymore?
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, and at the same time, you have others predicting, ultimate abundance. That we're going to get to this era where,
As
we'll
long
have,
as humans are running the show, I can't foresee it.
well, I struggle with how do we get there if we're not doing anything? I mean, it's like
Because if
ultimate abundance is like, all I keep thinking about is that movie, what is it, Wally, or where
oh
those
yes,
people, ride around in their chairs and they're all fat, and if they
yep.
fall out, they've got to call the ambulance to put them back in the
But
chair.
the thing is that one way to get there would be to let AI run the show. But one of the thing with AI is that it's oriented towards efficiency. To which extent is it going to, you know, at some point it's gonna figure out that humans are a liability.
We've already seen some of that in some various
So
experiments, right?
why would it use resources, that much resources, to keep us going?
Yeah, yeah.
If I was an AI, I wouldn't see the point of doing it.
One of the things I do find remarkable
You know,
is
intelligence and wisdom,
they're
they-
not, yeah,
yeah, two
yeah,
different ball games.
they are. But one of the things that the whole issue about power, right? We're needing so much more to accommodate this quantum and AI phenomenon.
Just look at the price of RAM.
But but what's fascinating to me is we're all electric. I mean, you're electric, I'm electric. This up in here
Yep,
is
runs on low
electric,
voltage, but still.
but the voltage, the power I'm consuming is like so low.
Yeah.
and that I think is really an interesting and I think clear demonstration of, you know, if you're a believer, which
Yeah,
I am, I
but
mean, it's unbelievable that our brain can be as complex as it
oh
is and do all that it does, and it doesn't burn like I mean, it's hardly any.
yeah, but to keep this brain running and waking up each and every morning, we need a whole lot of energy. We need to feed it. We need to wash the machine, the frame that walks it around. We need to put clothes
True,
on it.
true.
So
There
it
is
changes a whole
I
lot.
mean, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Looking at it holistically as opposed to just for thought, um, to keep it healthy because it's
But
part of
machine
that
for
whole
machine,
machine.
yes. I don't think there's anything more efficient than a human brain as we speak.
Yeah, it's amazing. And speaking of efficiency, I don't want to hold you up because I've had you a long time. So thanks a ton, Jeff, for, you know, coming and spending some time and chatting about
Always a
stuff.
pleasure.
It's a lot of fun. It's great to see you. I look forward to getting back up north and seeing you again soon.
Yeah. In our new offices in Toronto or right here in Sherbrooke, Quebec.
There you go.
Anytime.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Awesome. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of Talking Innovation. Boy, this one kind of just crawled all over everywhere, but I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And if you did, please share it, like it, tell your friends, subscribe, and we'll look forward to having you back on the next episode of Talking Innovation. Take care.